Hello everyone, this is Dr. Kasha Kynes and this is our weekly training on all things EBV, and today we're talking about EBV lab testing and the common mistakes. Hi Mary, good to see you here. Common mistakes that people make when actually making life decisions based on these darn labs. And as simple as labs are, EBV labs are not straightforward. And if a medical doctor looks at them, they will use their logic, which is logical, and they will misinterpret those labs as a result. So it's a little bit weird this way, but that's how it is. And this is what medical literature says. And this is what I see, consistently over the years. So we have a whole chapter in the book written about it, a whole module in our recovery program written about it. And I have a whole page on our website, so that there's a link that I just posted for you with a 50-minute version of Facebook Live that I've done, complete with a whiteboard, color-coded, antibodies on it. So if you want to do a deeper dive than today, it's in there here somewhere in the thread. So anyway, for today, I just jotted these down for you just to keep it simple. I'm going to show these to you. So number one, 5 biggest mistakes when I thought about it. Let's start with number one, PCR. PCR is something that your doctor may choose to test, and this is looking for DNA of EBV in your blood. And so PCR is not reliable when you have chronic EBV. Now, Heidi, hi. And it's a mistake for a medical doctor to make a diagnosis of not having EBV or having EBV based on PCR alone. That should never happen. PCR is not reliable for chronic. Robin, hi. For chronic version of EBV, it's more reliable when it's initial infection. And in our community, the initial infection, it was there many years ago. You don't even remember when sometimes. So it's really not adding to the value. So in medical literature and also in our community, I see a lot of false negatives. So you can believe you don't have EBV because of negative PCR, and that is the service. So I never even recommend PCR. The second mistake that medical doctors make is using VCA-IgM for diagnosis of EBV again. Again, similar problem. Typically, when you test IgM, it's the current infection for a particular pathogen. And IgG is past infection. Okay, this is how doctors are trained. This is common, but it's not this way entirely with this particular virus. Don't ask me why. So this is why if doctors are actually not studying medical literature for EBV testing, they do not know, and they will make that mistake again and again. They will show you that your EBV IgM, in their mind, this is the current infection. It's normal, and therefore you do not have current infection of EBV. And so traditionally you will be told you had it in the past. It's not relevant for your current medical conditions and your problems and your symptoms. It's not related to EBV because VCA-IgM is normal. So what I will say is I'll flip it and say VCA-IgM is expected to be normal in a chronic active EBV. It doesn't flare up enough to show up. It's very rarely that VCA-IgM shows up again and again. And so I'll talk more about that in that 15 minutes because that's like kind of exception. Okay, so that was mistake number 2. Mistake number 3 is common labs only have 3 or sometimes 2 antibodies that, hi Marla, that are tested. And if you do 3 or 2 antibodies and not 4, you need 4, then you will not really see the true status of your EBV. And it is a tragedy because I can tell you from my experience, people are misdiagnosed and missed. The EBV is missed in so many people, and they struggle for years as a result. And they don't know that this was just improperly interpreted and the lab is incomplete. So it's a tragedy. It shouldn't be, but that's what's happening. One of the problems is that some labs just have 2 or 3 in a bundle. So if the doctor orders EBV panel, the panel is missing 1 or 2. Hi, Carol. So you have to be your best advocate, and you have to ask the doctor, can you make sure that the lab has all of those antibodies, because most likely these will be 2 combined panels, you see. Hello, Jennifer. So the important thing is to have, let me see, NAIGG, VCA-IgG. These are typically in the panel. And then you have VCA-IgM, which we discussed. It's probably going to be normal. And then this one is the one that is often missing. Early antigen IgG, the most important one. Now, if I had a choice to test one of these 4, this is the one I would test. Because literally, even though it's IgG, so your doctor thinks it's past exposure, because it's not IgM. Early antigen IgG is actually current reactivation. And I put it on the list here so you can see, like EBNA and VCA-IgG, these are kind of long-term. We kind of have it for life. They can fluctuate up and down. They will never go to normal because it is past, and sometimes they, if you're reactivating, they will come up again a little higher. But these are the ones that are in triple digits or double digits, sometimes more than range when people have concerns, So there's more training on these in that 50 minutes. I gave you a link below. Hi, Shannon. Good to see you here. So you want to test the panel that has all 4, EBNA, VCA, VCA-IgG, and IgM, and early antigen. If you skip 1 or 2, you really won't know your status. You just won't. You won't have the whole reference. Hello, Michelle. So it's very important, and this is where everybody gets stuck. Okay, so it's not that difficult. You just have to get it in your head. I'm visual, and so you also have a visual table color coded that I posted in Facebook earlier today. So print it out, copy it, look at it, show it to your doctor. It has red, it has green, it has blue, it has all of the markers. It will make more sense to you. Now, so we talked about skipping these, making sure that you advocate for yourself and the panel is complete. Now, if you don't have a doctor, the doctor to test your EBV, because that's a problem too, that would be problem number 6, is we contracted with a direct-to-consumer lab. This lab was kind enough to create a panel for us of all. So you got them. It's on our EBV help website. It's right there. You can click and you can go, hi Gail, you can go directly to a local lab if you are in the States, and you get report the next day electronically. So you can completely bypass, you can bypass a doctor. The tragedy of lab testing is that people sometimes go 1 year knocking on the doors of different doctors asking to be tested, and some doctors will not be willing to because they will say, EBV is irrelevant, everybody has it, I'm not going to test it, it's not going to give us any information I don't know. And then on top of that, if they test your EBV, then they are responsible for doing something therapeutically about it. It's their responsibility. So sometimes they don't want to test because there's nothing that they can do. In their repertoire, there's only medication. But then again, they don't interpret the lab correctly because they don't know the medical literature. And I already told you what you need to know. So your doctors often don't know this information. I know. It's crazy. So anyway, so we have the Alta Lab link, and you know, people love this lab. I love this lab. Excellent customer service, and you get your result exactly as it needs to be, electronically on your own. You don't have to go to any doctor. You don't have to ask and beg. You don't have to be humiliated, and you get it so fast. So you know, so labs are iffy, and this is the number one question I'm asked again and again and again, like forever. So if I can teach you how to fish today, you can go and fish. You'll understand your labs forever. You'll know how to interpret them. That would be awesome. That would make my day. All right, we have two more points. Number 4, if your early antigen is normal, if the doctor is already versed in EBV and they know, okay, let's look at your early antigen, because if it's elevated, it means you're reactivating. But what if, you know, these are high, because they always are. This is normal, because it's typically are, because it's not your first infection. We talked about that. And this is normal. So you only have those two. So what does that mean? Well, you see, you know, on the trajectory of your life, these are kind of steady, high, but this kind of is a little bump in your journey, and the early antigen will reactivate, you know, will show when you reactivate, and it's kind of 2-3 weeks, so you can miss it unless you are so sick that you continue to reactivate it again and again. So the value of being smart when you test is this: you want to test maybe 2-3 times. You don't have to test forever, but I would encourage you to test one time when you're really tanking. Like, you don't wait 2-3 weeks. You don't wait through 2-3 months, because you can miss early antigen and can start normalizing. So you wanna test when you are at worst, when you're tanking, and then you wanna test when you feel the best, where your baseline is the best. So see, it's probably gonna be between those early antigen reactivations, somewhere here. So then you know, and again, you have to look. If your early antigen is negative, you have to look at your life and say, okay, hi Stephanie, do I thrive? Do I have mystery illnesses? Do I have Hashimoto's? Do I have autoimmunity? Do I have aches and pains? Do I have brain fog? Do I have fatigue? Do I have all these problems that nobody's fixing no matter what I do? Because that indicates you can have chronic EBV. And then if you have early antigen that is normal, you know, did I test it when I was kind of in my baseline, or did I test when I was sliding down? Because you know, you'll go like this. So this is one problem with the early antigen that people sometimes don't understand. You can't look at the number itself. You have to look at the context of you and your life and your symptoms. Make sense? Hi, Michelle. All right. So the last point I'm going to discuss is, all right, let's say maybe you're starting to read our book. Maybe you doing some supplements, you change your diet, you're starting to feel better. Maybe you sleep through the night, maybe your brain fog is shifting, maybe your energy is better so you can actually walk. Maybe you can go shopping and not tank afterwards, or maybe you even start gardening again, you know, picking that up because you have a little bit more energy. And then you test your lab, and then these are still triple digits. Okay, this may be normal at that point. This may be normal because you're not reactivating, but this is still triple digits, and it's like, it's not working. I still have EBV. Right, so this is a common pitfall for people. They get demoralized and they just want to throw in the towel. So I need you to understand this. You can have an amazing life, healed from EBV, completely under control, having the best time of your life, and these can still be elevated, because these two, once you have them, they're elevated for life of the host. We can't normalize them to 0. It just doesn't happen. This is like imprint, you know? So it's just watching if they're increasing, you know, where is the wave? As you're getting better, you know, maybe from 600, it's 500, 400, 300, you know, this is what you want. And also, some people don't make one or the other, so only one of them sometimes is positive, and that's fine. You know, there's studies on different percolations, and so that's more in that longer training that I have. So Yeah, that's what I would say. Watch this a few times, let it sink, print that color graph. You'll be a pro. That's all you need to know. And then next time, we're going to talk about common co-infections with EBV. So come back. We're going to talk about those labs. And why? Because EBV comes with friends. It's more common than not to have co-infections than just have EBV on its own. Like EBV on its own, it's nice, easy, but oftentimes there's more. So we're going to talk about what I see the most, what you should watch for, what kind of co-infections. Hi, Wendy. All right, I'm going to jump off. Happy Wednesday. I hope this was helpful. Please give me some thumbs up or put some questions. I will go into the questions right away, and I will type the answers right in the Facebook for you guys. So let me know if this is helpful, and please be empowered with those labs. This is what it is. Now you get it. Just watch, repeat until it sticks, and then you know how to interpret it. That's all you need to know.